You walked into the supermarket for 3 items. You walked out with 22. The total was $147. You did not lose control. You were guided. The lighting, the aisle sequence, the placement of the milk at the back wall, the checkout display designed by a retail architect whose sole job was to intercept your wallet at the moment of lowest resistance. Every square foot of that store was engineered against you, and you go back next week and the week after. Because you have no alternative. Because somewhere between 1950 and today, the architecture of your household was quietly rebuilt around the assumption that a supermarket exists nearby and that you will visit it multiple times per month for the rest of your life. 6 months ago, working through Ezekiel's ledger, I found a single entry from 1882 that I have not been able to set aside since. An entire year of household food expenditure for a family of 7. 3 purchases, total spent 61 cents. Not per week, not per month. For the year. I want to show you the system behind that number. Not as a historical curiosity, as a structural model that is fully documented, mathematically verifiable, and partially replicable in any household, urban, suburban, or rural, starting this week. Stay until the end. Because the last component I am going to show you is a pricing strategy Ezekiel documented across 7 years of harvest records that modern economists have a name for, and that the grocery industry has spent decades making structurally inaccessible to individual households. The name for it, the math behind it, and exactly how to begin applying it, that is all coming. The average American household spent $5,703 on groceries in 2023. That is the Bureau of Labor Statistics number. Add restaurant meals purchased because the pantry was empty, convenience store runs, delivery fees, and impulse items placed at checkout height by retail architects paid specifically to intercept your wallet. The real number is closer to $9,200 per household per year. That number increased 25% since 2020. Not because food got more expensive to produce, because the system sitting between the farm and your table got more expensive to operate and passed every dollar of that cost directly to you. The Amish household in Holmes County, Ohio, spent an average of $400 to $600 on externally purchased food in 2023. For a family of 6 to 8 people, that gap, $8,600 per year, is not a lifestyle difference. It is a structural difference, and the structure was deliberately built. In 1950, the average American household produced or preserved approximately 40% of its own food. Home gardens, root cellars, canning, cured meats. The domestic economy of food production was still functioning as a parallel system alongside commercial retail. By 1980, that number had dropped to under 5%. By 2000, it was effectively zero for urban and suburban households. That collapse did not happen because people stopped wanting to grow food. It happened because a $1.2 trillion grocery retail industry systematically made homegrown food production economically and culturally invisible. The processed food industry spent billions in the 1960s and 1970s reframing home cooking as labor and convenience food as liberation. The seed industry consolidated from hundreds of regional varieties to a handful of commercially controlled strains optimized for shelf life and transport, not home cultivation. Cornell University's Food and Brand Lab published research in 2018 documenting that the average supermarket layout is designed around 17 documented psychological principles: lighting, shelf placement, aisle sequencing, checkout architecture, all engineered to increase total basket size. The average shopper spends 40% more per trip than they intended before entering the store. You did not develop poor grocery habits. You were walked through a machine designed by behavioral psychologists to maximize extraction from every visit. The Amish never walked in. Rule 1. The closed-loop principle. When I turned to the household economy sections of Ezekiel's ledger, entries running from 1874 through 1895, I found almost no food expenditure at all. In the entire year of 1882, Ezekiel's household recorded 3 external food purchases: salt, 14 cents, coffee, 38 cents, a spice unavailable locally, 9 cents. Total external food expenditure for the year, 61 cents, for a household of 7. Everything else, grain, vegetables, meat, dairy, preserved goods, cooking fat, was either produced on the property, sourced from community exchange, or obtained through the cooperative purchasing structure the settlement had built. Ezekiel labelled this system in a marginal note on page 22. 2 words in German, Geschlossener Kreislauf, closed loop. The closed loop principle is not ideology. It is the systematic elimination of every margin. Rule 2. The community cooperative. The second component of the Amish food system is the most misunderstood. The Amish are not purely self-sufficient. They are strategically interdependent. In every established Amish settlement, a community purchasing cooperative aggregates demand across households to purchase commodities at wholesale prices. Flour, sugar, salt, coffee, anything that cannot be efficiently produced domestically is purchased collectively. The economics are straightforward. A family purchasing 25 pounds of flour at retail pays approximately $12 to $14. The same quantity through a cooperative bulk order from a regional mill costs $4 to $6. The cooperative captures the distributor margin and the retail markup in a single structural decision. Ezekiel's cooperative purchase records from 1889 show the settlement purchasing 2,400 pounds of flour, 800 pounds of sugar, 600 pounds of salt, and 200 pounds of coffee in a single annual bulk transaction. Total cost per participating household for a full year's supply of these staples, $3.40. In 2023 dollars, the equivalent retail supermarket purchase costs approximately $300 to $40 per household. The cooperative purchase costs approximately $95 to $110. The difference, $230 to $245 per household per year on staples alone, compounds across every category of household consumption. Ezekiel's community captured it through collective action. The supermarket industry captures it through your isolation. Rule 3. Zero brand dependency. On page 31 of the ledger, dated 1884, Ezekiel recorded every externally purchased item his household consumed that year. 17 items. None carried a brand name. Every item was listed by commodity description only. Not Heinz ketchup, tomatoes, vinegar, spices, not Pillsbury flour, winter wheat, stone ground, not Folgers coffee, green coffee beans, roasted at home. This was not asceticism, it was economics. A branded product is a commodity with a marketing budget attached. The consumer pays the commodity cost, the processing cost, and the marketing cost, the last of which generates zero nutritional value. Nielsen market research from 2022 shows branded grocery products carry an average price premium of 26% over store brand equivalents with identical nutritional profiles. For national brands in breakfast cereals, condiments, and snack foods, that premium rises to 40 to 60%. The US food and beverage industry spent $14.2 billion on advertising in 2022. Every dollar was recovered through consumer prices. You fund the campaigns that persuade you to buy the products that fund the campaigns. Ezekiel's household never paid a cent of that, because he purchased ingredients, not brands. We are halfway through the Amish food system, the closed loop principle, the community cooperative, and zero brand dependency alone reduce annual household food expenditure by 60 to 70% relative to the average American grocery budget. But there is a fourth component. A preservation and storage system documented in the 1886 section of the ledger that makes the entire structure resilient, not just cheaper, but structurally immune to the price volatility that hits every modern household the moment a supply chain disruption or an industry pricing decision ripples through the retail system. That component is coming. Rule 4. The temporal arbitrage. Calendar. On page 38 of the ledger, in entries spanning 1885 through 1892, I initially read Ezekiel's harvest log as routine record-keeping. It took 3 readings to understand what I was actually looking at. It was a price arbitrage calendar. Ezekiel had documented across 7 years the seasonal price fluctuations of every commodity his household consumed. Apples, lowest in late October, highest in March. Pork, lowest at first frost, highest in midsummer. Grain, lowest at harvest in August, highest by February. Next to each commodity, the quantity purchased or preserved at the year low price point, and the calculated savings versus purchasing at the high price point throughout the year. Ezekiel was not simply producing food, he was buying time. Every bushel of apples canned in October at 40 cents was a bushel not purchased in March at $1.10. Every pork belly cured at first frost was a pork belly not purchased in July at twice the price. The preservation system was functioning as a commodity futures strategy. Buy at the seasonal floor, store, consume at the seasonal peak, capture the spread. The USDA's Economic Research Service publishes monthly data showing seasonal price variation for fresh produce, averages 34% between peak and trough across the calendar year. For meat, seasonal variation averages 18 to 22%. A household that purchases and preserves at seasonal price floors captures that spread across every category. Combined with the closed-loop principle, cooperative buying and zero brand dependency, the Amish system does not merely reduce food costs. It structurally decouples the household from the retail pricing mechanism entirely. When the supermarket raises prices, the Amish household does not feel it. When a supply chain disrupts a product category, the Amish pantry already holds 12 months of reserves purchased at the seasonal floor. The external system can move in any direction. The closed-loop household does not move with it. What you can do this week. You do not need farmland. You do not need to can 40 bushels of tomatoes this weekend. You need to begin building the architecture, one component at a time. Step 1. Identify your commodity purchases. Go through your last 3 grocery receipts and separate every item into 2 categories: commodity ingredients and branded products. Calculate the percentage of your total spend on branded products. That percentage is your brand premium, the portion paying for marketing, not food. Step 2. Replace 3 branded products per month with the commodity equivalents. Breakfast cereal, condiments, snack foods, and beverages carry the highest premiums. Start where the margin is largest. Step 3. Identify your seasonal purchase opportunities. For any food category your household consumes in volume, meat, produce, grains, find the annual price low point. A chest freezer purchased for $200 and filled with meat at seasonal discount pays for itself within 1 season through price differential alone. Step 4. Find your cooperative equivalent. Buying clubs, food cooperatives, warehouse retailers, and community-supported agriculture programs all function on Ezekiel's cooperative principle, aggregating demand to capture wholesale pricing. The infrastructure exists. A household, spending $9,200 per year on food that captures even 30% of the cooperative pricing differential, saves $2,760 annually. And it requires nothing more than a membership and a willingness to purchase in volume. The grocery industry will tell you food has gotten more expensive because of supply chain disruptions and commodity prices. Those factors are real and responsible for approximately 30% of the price increases you have experienced since 2020. The other 70% is margin expansion. Industry profit data from publicly traded food and grocery companies shows record profit margins in 2021, 2022, and 2023. The same years consumers experienced the sharpest food price increases in 4 decades. I have nothing to sell you. I have Ezekiel's ledger, a USDA commodity price database, and a closed-loop principle unchanged since 1882. Look at your last grocery receipt. Find the total. Write that number in the comments, just the number. I read every single one. And what you write tells me exactly where to look next. You now have the architecture of the Amish food system, the closed-loop principle, the community cooperative, zero brand dependency, the temporal arbitrage calendar. But here is the problem that surfaces the moment you start applying this. Every dollar you save on food now needs somewhere to go, not a savings account earning 0.4% while inflation erodes it at 3% annually. Not a checking account where it disappears into the next convenient purchase. The Amish do not have this problem, because they have a capital deployment system, a method for converting household savings into productive assets that generate returns in labor, food production, and community capital, rather than in financial instruments that require a broker and a fee to access. That system is in Ezekiel's ledger. The final piece, the one that transforms everything covered across these 3 videos from a cost reduction strategy into something structurally different. A household economy that does not depend on the system to survive. That video is on your screen right now.